We're going to go back in time a little bit today and look at the site as it was when we first got started. As you can see, it's pretty woolly, a lot of small trees, bushes, tall dead grass. A lot of those bushes have thorns on them. They weren't a ton of fun to deal with. By day two, we had cleared quite a bit of the site. We drug most of the brush off to a number of different brush piles and cleared almost the entire length of the cabin site. On day three, you can see Thomas over here working on a little project, but we had widened the site considerably, again hauling the brush off to a number of different piles. Stuff we'll be able to use as kindling later on. But the bulk of the day was setting stakes out where the cabin will eventually sit. This stake will be the northwest corner of the cabin. This one, the southwest. The southeast there, and up to the northeast corner. As you can see from the stakes, we've got a little bit more clearing to do, some trees and brush that will just be a little too close to where the cabin sits. The site's starting to take shape. On day four, we made a pretty big muddy mess of things. All the walking back and forth, hauling the brush, cutting down a few more trees. It got to be pretty sloppy at one point. But the major project of day four was to set a string line. When I was looking at different options for where the cabin was going to sit, I tried to pick the flattest one. But if you've ever done a project like this, anything that looks flat winds up not flat at all. We also did a little more clearing off here to the west. We started in the northeast corner, the highest point, and made our string line over to the northwest corner, and had about 6 inches of fall. No big deal. But as we head south to our southwest corner, we had about 16 inches of fall. And then on the southeast corner, about another 6 to 8 inches. So we've got some blocking up to do to make sure that the cabin sits level. We want our time in there to be enjoyable and not be leaning to one side or the other. Here's the building. As you can see, it's pretty plain and pretty small. It was made for small livestock, and it did its job doing that for many years. But now we needed to do something else, so we've got a little work ahead of us. The last time I moved it, I busted off this doorpost, so here's my attempt at splicing it together so that it holds steady during the move. Yep, that's what you think it is. Like I said, building for livestock. But after a long, hard day, Bingley's going to show you here that we got it all cleaned out. Okay, we are at the cabin where it sits now. The goal for today, if all goes well, is to get this thing hooked up and drug over to the cabin site. But first I want to give you guys a little tour. As you can see, it is absolutely grown up. Around here we are in mid-June, and even though it's been dry, we still got a lot that's grown up. This is the door. Let me back up a little bit. This will be the main door into the cabin. This whole tour is a caveat of, I know it looks terrible, but a little bit of TLC will make it functional. So we're going to build and hang a door here. And I don't know how much I've talked about,
but it is tiny. My head right now is about 3 inches from the peak. So there's going to be a lot of this that's going to be set up more for, let's just say I won't be spending a lot of time in the cabin. Cooking, sleeping. That's kind of my goal. I've got some braces here for when I move it, just a little extra precaution. There are also some wasps in here, so if you see a jump cut, it's because I ran away screaming like a little girl. I am for now going to put a little window in here. It's right down along the ground. So even sitting in a chair, you won't be able to see real well. Eventually I'm going to redo the roof and try and put a dormer in here and raise the window up a little bit, but that's project down the road. But the thinking is, in this corner right here, we have a couple fold-up cots for sleeping. Then on the other side, we'll have a little bench with some room for shoes and boots, etc. Next to that, put our sawdust toilet. Along this wall, to the corner, and to that double, oh, there's a wasp, and to that double stud there on the left. It's going to be countertops. We'll put a little gray water sink in, probably just use a bucket at first, but then I'd like to install a simple gray water system. And then over in the corner here is going to be our wood stove cooking surface. Goal number one for today is going to be to move this little pen. I had this pen when we had goats here. This was actually the spot where our livestock guardian dog could slip in between the bars, and that's where his food was. The goats were never too motivated to get in there, so that system worked well, but it's right in the way. Well, as you can see, I got all but one gate out. Just got one of the T-posts out. If you've ever had to pull a T-post by hand, you know it's not fun. And in drought conditions, it's darn near impossible. So I essentially had to dig it out all the way to the spade and then pull it out. And as you can hear, fat kid's still out of breath. So I decided to take a minute and film this and get a drink of water. Step one accomplished. I'm going to leave those other two T-posts, because I believe they will not be in the way. So step two, we're going to come over here, get our shovel. We got to dig down. Get underneath. I don't know if you can see one of the skids there, and another one is there. There's a wasp. Get away from me. Sorry about that, folks. Do not want to get stung today. Anyway, then inside you'll see my bottle jack stands. We got to lift this thing up at least a couple inches, secure it underneath so we can drag it away. And a bunch of wasps have stirred up, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, slight change of plans. Wasps were going pretty nuts, so we are going to do a little bit of scouting. There's two different routes we can pull it over there with, I think. So we're gonna scout those, see which one works better. As you can see, it's a little woolly on this path. So you can hear me. We're kind of bouncing around in here. Oop. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I'm pulling a really heavy building. Okay, that route's no good. We barely made it with just the 4Runner. Had to lock it in 4-wheel drive, even though it's bone dry. It's just way too rough. So we're gonna have to take the long way around. Should be a smooth ride, except for going over one terrace, but it's just a lot longer around. Doesn't give us the best angle coming into the cabin site, but I think it's the way to go. So for right now, we're gonna run to town and get some wasp spray. Right, Bingley? Yeah, he said he didn't want to get stung either. Okay, wasps, your time is up. Say hello to my little friend. Hey. You like those ninja moves? All right, we are finally back to the cabin. We got an assorted amount of chains and tow straps and all kinds of stuff. So now we got to get it hooked up and see if she'll move. I got a lot of thinking to do here. And I'm not going to make you guys watch that because it can be pretty painful. Okay. This is what I came up with what I have. Got 2 chains to the truck, to a joint. Those 2 chains go back to that chain, which run hook to one hole, down through the other hole, come back out, and to keep that chain taut, a ratchet strap back to the chain. We'll find out. Okay, we are in gear, 4-wheel drive. It's not going well. Oh, tires just broke loose. That was a loud pop. We better go check it out. Well, that's not gonna work. 4Runner does not have the oomph to dislodge the building from where it is. So we're gonna have to figure something else out. Well, today certainly had its ups and downs, and ended on a down. We will not be able to move the building today, but it's always a good day to get out to the cabin site, cabin. Took some steps forward anyway, so we will try again another time.